You guys ready? So the number one sign of success, guys. When I look and observe non-marketers or new agents, there's always one thing that really stands out to me. That it's the number one sign that they got the goodies, they got what it takes. They're like for sure gonna hit marketing as long as they don't get like in their own way, or some character issue doesn't kind of get in the way. Like this one thing is the sign to me that they're for sure going to make it. They're for sure going to be a marketing director. They're for sure going to run an agency. So I know that an agent is going to be successful when, tell your neighbor what you think the answer is. Tell your neighbor what you think the answer is. I know that an agent is going to be successful when, tell your neighbor. What do you think it is? 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 When they're relentless, right? Okay. Give me two answers. If you are on MD2B, don't say it. If you are on MD2B, don't say it. Faith? Gratitude, one more. Consistency, coachable. Okay, let me give it to you. Okay. I know an agent has what it takes to be successful, to be a marketing director, to run their own agency. When I see that they are a worker. I just know that they have what it takes. Like in seeing so many people in the business, some people come in, guys, I've recruited people, I'm like, oh man, this guy's gonna kill it. He makes how much? He makes a couple $100,000 a year. He's been this successful in business, or she's done this and this and this. They know who, they did what, they came from what company, and then you see them in FaceTime. Ooh, they're natural at networking. They don't stand against the wall like I did, right? And you see them, and when we ask a question, they're like, they know all the perfect answers. That wasn't even the script, but they sound good, right? It's like, anybody ever recruit somebody that they got talent. They got talent, right? I recruit a lot of people like that. When I see that they are a worker, that's when I know they're going to be successful. I've recruited people who are very talented, but they don't work. I recruited people who have the gift of gab, but they don't work. I have people that they could talk to 3 people and get 3 recruits because they're just that good, but they don't work. Right? I've recruited people that their first month in the business, they freaking crush it because they have a network of people who look at them as a king, as a queen, and then after the month, they don't make it because they don't work. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I know that one thing that really stands out to me is, damn, she's a worker. She's a worker, right? So no one needs to tell them to work. They just work. No one needs to tell this type of person to hey, go prospecting, hey, make calls. They just work. They don't need a contest to work. Whether there's a contest or not, they just work. Has anybody ever had somebody on a team like this where they just work, right? They're workers. They don't need to be recognized for it. They just work. They're workers. Like, by the way, I value recognition and affirmation and crossing the station high fives. Like, shoot, I'll take it all day. If you know the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 3. I'm like, I like to be told, good job, buddy. But don't ever call me buddy. But good job, right? I like to be told, good job, good job, good job. But whether somebody tells me good job or not, I work, right? I like working with people who work because they're workers, not because they know they're going to get a recognition. Does that make sense? They don't need others to be doing it. They just work. I love working with people who just work even if others are not doing it. I remember, I'll get to this here in a bit, but hey guys, you're going prospecting, can I come? Versus, I'm going prospecting. I don't care if people aren't going. Or maybe you're like, hey, I'm going prospecting, do you want to come? But they work because they're workers. Does this make sense? You with me? The number one sign that somebody's going to be successful is they work. They're workers. I find out after the fact that they were working when nobody told them. Like I hear about it. Oh yeah, last week I did 30 prospects. Oh yeah, last week I did 290 calls. Oh yeah, last week I ran 9 RIs. Oh yeah, last week I did an event with my team. Oh yeah. I find out after that they did it, they didn't need my permission to do it. They just work. Does that make sense? You with me? Yeah. I like it when people do this. They don't turn it off. They just work. They're workers. They have a mission. They have a vision. They're going after MD. So they work. Right? They got bills to pay. So they work. Right? They got kids to feed. So they work. They work on Saturday afternoons. You guys with me? Yeah. They work on Saturday afternoons. We do our 8 a.m. Then we do our pregame. Then we do our training from 10 to 12. Then we do meeting after meeting from 12 to 12:30. And then they work. They say, let me go get my prospects. Let me go make my calls. I have 3 appointments that I booked after BOM. Hey, we're going to do this team event with my team as a non-MD, me and my 3, 4, 5 people. They do a BMP. They work. Guys, I love it. Like, for me, that's a sign. And I find out on Monday that they did all that work on Saturday. They didn't need my permission or even my affirmation. They just work. I'm like, that's a sign. That's a sign. They work on Sundays. Listen, I understand Sundays are family day, but if you don't got kids, go put in work so that when you do have kids, your Sundays are exciting, right? Like you even if you do got kids, you're taking your kids to the park, you're working. You can't turn it off. You're meeting people. Might as well talk to them. Just make sure you do your hair or do something, right? But you're not gonna be in a suit at the park. But on Sundays you work. On Saturdays you work. Is this making sense? Yes. When I see people who can't turn it off, oh man, I'm like, they got it. They got it. Work is not a skill. Work is an attitude. Work is a decision. Work is I'm going to do it. Skill comes, right? But they're separate things. They set a personal commitment, and after the training, they don't go home until they hit it. Man, I said I was going to get 5 prospects every single day. Monday, I got them. Tuesday, I got them. Wednesday, man, I'm only at 3. We're going to get out of the meeting after the meeting, and then we're not going to do the meeting after the meeting after the meeting, then we're going to go to eating after the meeting after the meeting after the meeting, and then we're going to be done around 11. I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to miss it. No, workers say, I still got an hour. Workers say, I'm not going to go to bed until I come through on the commitment that I told myself I would do. Why? Because I'm a worker. Does that make sense? Oh, but I'm going to be tired tomorrow. Workers don't think I'm going to be tired tomorrow. Workers regret not doing it sooner. They work, and next Wednesday, they do it earlier so that then they won't have to be tired tomorrow. Does that make sense? Yeah. Workers work. And when I see that, I'm like, they're going to make it. Not only are they going to make it, they're going to do very well. So when I say work, what's the work? What are some of the aspects of work in this business? Absolutely prospecting. Guys, if you don't have people to call, you should be getting numbers so that you could have people to call, right? If you don't have appointments, you should be making calls, right? If you have appointments, go rock those appointments. If you have a team, do team meetings, do team huddles, do team events. Like, if you don't have a team, prospecting should be your obsession. I look at other industries, and I follow this guy on Instagram. Real estate and insurance is so similar. I follow this guy on Instagram, and he's has about 1,000 followers on Instagram, and he's starting as a real estate agent, and he's recording himself knocking 100 doors a day. He's a worker. He goes to Home Depot and walks into the random wood aisle and says, "Do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a home?" I'm like, he's a worker, right? A different industry, but in any industry, for you to be successful, you need to be a worker, right? And in any industry, especially our type of any industry, independent contracting sales industry, you have to prospect. You can't avoid it. You can't look for the shortcut. You gotta talk to people. You gotta work. You gotta work, right? You gotta put in the work. Phone calls. I look at other models, and in other models in insurance, it is very normal to make 300 calls a day. Because they buy leads, they spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month on leads. You think if you spend $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month on leads, you're not going to call those leads? Nope. Tamara, how many calls a day do you make? 150 to 200 calls. In the car sales, and you're like, 20 calls a day? I mean, like, now I understand when you build it, the referrals come. That's later, but right now, you haven't built it yet, right? Other industries, and even our industry, other models, it's 200 calls a day, 200, 300 calls a day, right? And somebody who can do that, they're going to make it. Why? Because they're working. Does that make sense? Recruiting interviews. In our business, the recruiting interview is absolutely essential, because you don't want to build a job. How do you build a job? You just sell policies. And imagine you're the best at selling policies. You're selling 2 policies a day, 3 policies a day, 5 policies, 10 policies a day, right? That's 300 a month. I haven't seen anybody do that. But let's say you're just selling a ton of policies. You make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year selling policies. Guess what you've done? You built yourself a job. You built yourself a job, and it's the scariest job, because you increased your lifestyle, but it demands that constant. And if you have a bad month, or if you go on vacation, your income goes down for that month, right? So I don't want you to build a job. I want you to build a business. So to build a business, it's the recruiting interviews. If you're a worker, go run 10 recruiting interviews a week, 15 recruiting interviews a week, 20 recruiting interviews a week. But David, I don't know how to do the recruiting interview. We're not even talking about skill. We're talking about work. You work enough, you'll learn how to do it. And we got a bunch of videos and all that on training. Like we train you guys on that. But you got to learn how to do the recruiting interviews. David, but I'm scared. But if you're a worker, you work anyway. Does that make sense? And then the team meetings. This business for me is, what I love about this business is, my best friends have come through the business, and I'm very good friends with them because we're on the same, we don't think it's weird to work 10 hours a day. Does that make sense? I remember, like, respectfully, when I meet friends at church or something, and they're like, David, you work so much. I haven't heard that in a long time. But when I meet new people, they're like, David, you work all the time. Like, David, why do you work all the time, David? And I'm like, I don't want that in, because I don't consider it work. I consider it building. I'm building. I'm fighting. I'm advancing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So for you, if you're a worker, not only is it your calls, your prospects, all that, You should be doing team events. Go to eat with your team, right? Meeting after the meeting and eating after the meeting, and go do. If the big team, the bigger the base shops get, the more permission you have to do it from you down. Does that make sense? Do a Friday night game night. Do a Friday night bowling. We went bowling. What was my score? It was 180, I think, 150, 140. Just so you know, I beat Gene on the first one. The second one I lost. The first one I beat you. The second one I lost. I said it. The first one I beat, second one I lost, right? But we're doing it, right? We're doing it. As you're growing your associate count, part of working is creating that community from you down. Does that make sense? Right? This is how you create loyalty. And by the way, and I say this so realistically, it doesn't mean you have to pay for everybody. It means you have to put it on the date and invite everybody. Does that? I can't do team meetings because I can't pay for everybody. I didn't say that. Schedule it. Everybody can pay $12 for themselves. Go watch a movie. Does that make sense? But you're in the mindset. When I see people doing that, I'm like, they're gonna succeed. They're gonna be successful. They're gonna make it happen. You with me? Yes. Okay. So, Chris Solis is a worker. I remember recruiting 4 people, 6 people would quit. I remember 1 month I recruited 2 Chris's and a guy named, I don't want to say because it would be online, but I remember 3 guys within a week. I got 3 directs in a week, right? One guy lasted a week. The other guy lasted longer, but he annoyed me because he didn't do anything. And then it was Chris. And Chris was a freaking worker. Now, he needed some training in other areas. He was a very young guy in certain disciplines and certain things, but he was a worker. You know what's very easy for me to train? I could train you how to make a phone call. I could train you how to run a quotes. I could train you how to do a presentation, what's your opinion on life insurance, good, bad, need. It's very easy for me to train that. You know what's very hard for me to train? Teach somebody how to be a worker. We recruit Chris Solis. Chris Solis is a worker. I remember, and he said this, so I'll say that. I remember the first week he was out prospecting. I thought, bro, there's nobody here. There's nobody at the stores. I know where there's a lot of people. 11 o'clock at night, I get a Snapchat. He said, bro, I'm out prospecting. He was at the club and all the girls around him. He was getting all the girls' numbers. I'm like, bro, that's not prospecting, but enjoy your weekend, right? I said, okay. He had to refine it. But worker, I took him out prospecting, and then boom, 10 prospects a day, 15 prospects a day, 30 prospects a week. He had a market, 15 appointments a week. I get so emotional, I'm getting up. He hit 25. Do you mind opening that for me? I appreciate it, bro. He hit 25 black shirt, non-licensed, so he hit director, thank you, bro. He hit director, non-licensed. He's a worker. He hit MD within 45 days of him getting his license. He hit MD because he's a worker, right? You look at David Sika. David Sika, man, the hardest worker I've ever met till today. Hardest worker I've ever met till today. So I recruit David Sika. He's a non-marketing director. We qualify him for Fast Start School. By the way, he's a pain in the butt. He's an absolute pain in the butt. He's giving me like a ton of like, if you call my mom, I'll kill you, right? I'll see if I believe him, he will kill me, right? He's like, bro, why do I gotta pay $15 for this, right? You didn't tell me about that. I'm like, bro, it's $15, right? So we're going at it constantly, right? But we get him, but he's a worker, right? So I'm like, okay, I like this guy. He came from solar. He would knock doors 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he was tired of that. He was making over $100,000 a year in solar. And I said, hey, bro, here we got air conditioning. So he said, okay, let me come with you guys, right? So he comes with us, and he's a worker. He's challenging to work with because he's David Sika, right? All good qualities, but to develop, right? He's a worker. I remember he gets qualified for Fast Start School, and I introduced him to one of the guys there, and David Sika goes up to this guy's an SMD ring earner, and David's a trainee, just qualified for Fast Start School. Sprint Award, and the guy's asking him some questions. He's like, hey, so what do you want to do in this business? And he tells him, I want to build it bigger than you. Or he said, I'm going to build it bigger than you. And he's been in business for like 2 minutes. And he looks at me, and no offense, bro, but I'm going to be bigger than you. And I'm like, go get him, man. I'm like, but I like that because he's a worker. And on our essence, so he hit MD. On his way to MD, he was spending nights at the office. He in California with traffic, it was about an hour and a half from our office in Montebello to Santa Monica. So during the run, he would run appointments till 11 o'clock at night, and then he would sleep under my desk. You remember putting him a pillow and all that, and I would come back in the morning. I would leave around 11:30. I would come back, and I'm like, bro, did he go home? And his hair's all messed up. I'm like, no, bro, I slept on your desk. I'm like, that's fine, right? And on the way to MD, he did that. I'm like, damn, like, I'm not telling him to do that. He is a worker. And then when he hits MD, that's when we hit SMD. So I was grinding like crazy. Don't get me wrong. I'm grinding like crazy. I had to do the other. I'm like, you do 50%, go hit MD. I'll do the other 50%. We hit SMD. It was just him and I. I went out there and did my numbers. He was working. Does that make sense? Johnny. Johnny's a worker. I'm going to compliment Johnny. He's an absolute worker. Give it up for Johnny, everybody. Absolute worker. So this training was inspired by Johnny because I'm like, how do I know Johnny's going to be successful? He tells me after the fact, oh yeah, I ran 5 RIs this week. Oh yeah, I got 10 prospects today. Oh yeah, I just finished up all the points for my new agent's associate promotion. Like, he's doing stuff, and I'm like, I didn't tell him to do that. He is working. He is working. By the way, do you think the skill is 10 out of 10 right now? I think the skill is still developing, right? I don't judge based on the skill. Skill comes, part of it comes with time and repetition. He's very skilled, comes from a very, very, very high end on the corporate side, so he a lot of skill. But I think it's going to get even better. But the part, and I can train him on skill, the part that I can't train is he's a worker. Work ethic, right? So he tells me, yeah, I got 10 prospects. Yeah, I got this. I did 3 RIs today. Yeah, I ran an appointment. Yeah, we have a follow-up next week. I'm like, okay. I have no doubt in my mind Johnny's going to be marketing director plus VP plus. Give it for Johnny one more time. Okay? Hector, I'm having a conversation with Hector. I think this would have been yesterday.
Which Hector?
Hector. Ah, bro, let me fix it. Bro, I apologize. Okay, spell it out for me. R-E?
S-E-N-D-I-Z.
It's like, bro, if we're gonna say it, we're gonna say it the right way, okay? But I send this, right? Okay. So Hector, I call him. Hey Hector, how you doing? I know you guys haven't been, a little bit under the weather. Yeah, man. But I was at my kid's graduation, and I got 2 prospects, and what am I missing there? Yeah, and he's coming tomorrow, right? I'm like, this guy never turns it off. Heck, Tamara, it never turns it off. It's a lifestyle, right? He never turns it off. He is a worker. He goes out. He obviously has give it up for Hector. He has another business that takes time, a lot of time, right? But he never turns it off, right? He texts me at 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, bro, I'm sleeping. No, I'm not sleeping. No, but he never turns it off. He's prospecting. He's making calls, constantly having guests, getting recruits. I'm like, oh, bro, your new guy has 2 appointments. Yeah, I'll rock him. That's with a full-time business, kids, all that going on, right? So I have zero doubt in my mind that Hector and Tamara are going to become marketing directors. Give it up for them. Great job. And here's what I'll say. This is not to compliment myself, but this is what I'll tell you. When you are actually that's the next slide, so let me get there. But I believe I'm a worker. Okay. Chris, Sika, Johnny, Hector, they told me what they did. They didn't have to, I didn't have to tell them what to do. Guys, what are the plays in the business? Number one, prospect. I'm not gonna write. I can't read it anyway. Okay. Number one is prospecting. What's number two? Phone calls. What's number three? Presentation. Okay. What's number four? Follow up. What's number five? Fast starts. What's number six? Duplication. You do any of that. You're all good, bro. You're all good. Give it up. There we go. Okay. You do any of that, you are working. Now, here's what I'll tell you. I know that many of you guys have full-time jobs. I didn't say work 10 hours a day. I just said work. I know you got kids. I didn't say work 10 hours a day. I just said work. Does that make like you could do something every single day? Now, when I say that I didn't have to tell them what to do for them to do it, where they told me what they did, this doesn't mean that we haven't had the I believe in you talks. This doesn't mean that, hey bro, I bombed that one. This doesn't mean that, bro, I just recruited 3 people and 3 people quit, right? It doesn't mean we're not having the problem solving processing issues, right? Bro, I think I messed that one up. I think it could have been a sale, but I said the wrong word. We have those conversations, of course. The difference is that even when they had doubt or a bad day or their tummy hurt or something went wrong, Hector's, I think, back was out and we're in a last person standing contest. When things are going on there, they didn't stop working. Even when you're in a fight with your spouse, even when your kids are sick, yes, but you could do some work, right? Even if you have a full-time job. One of the tests to determine if you're going to be a marketing director and a successful marketing director is how you respond to adversity. When you respond to adversity, do you turn off? Or when adversity is happening, can you stay on? For me, how you respond to adversity is such a big sign to are you going to be successful, because you're going to have chargebacks. You're going to have agents that were your road dogs and then they are not, right? You're going to have people who disappoint you. I missed MD twice before I hit it, right? And I'm like, if I'm ever going to quit, I'm going to quit now, right? You're going to have moments where financially you're like, dude, I don't know if it's... But how you respond to adversity, are you going to stay on? Are you going to stay working? Is this making sense? That speaks so much to the people who are working with you to train you. Like you could be going through that and still be working. It's a sign of strength, not a sign of your priorities are off. And people want to make you feel guilty and say your priorities are off. You care more about money than you do about your family. No. All right. So they don't say, I'm on an MD run and then not prospect for a few days because they were in their feelings. How many times have you ever said, I'm on a 90-day run, but you go through like a week where you're off because something happened or you're just not feeling it, and I'm not going to say it wasn't a real event because something might have happened. You and your spouse kind of got into it. It was a bad fight. But the people who show signs that they are going to succeed is people who go through the fight with their spouse. They say I'm on an MD run, and they work every day if they feel like it or not. And it doesn't mean you brush the fight under the rug. You just pause it for a couple hours and then pick the fight back up at 9 p.m. when you get home. All right, I'm joking, right? But you could still go and run that RI, run that fast start, make those calls, run that appointment, do that team meeting, put a smile on your face, and nobody knows what you're going through. You're a worker. Does that make sense? I can't train this, but I could spot it. Does that make right? So they might be overthinkers and very analytical. Guys, this is me. Who here, you're an overthinker, you're very analytical. Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Guys, this is me. This is me. But there's different types. There's overthinkers and very analytical people that get paralyzed until they feel like they get clear and they have an answer, and they don't do anything until they figure out, why did God put me on this earth? And then there are those overthinkers like myself, very analytical, where I got to understand everything, that they still put in the work even when they have doubt, even when they're uncertain, even when they are unclear. They're still putting in the work while they're deciding, do I want to be a PHP marketing director, right? Like I went through the moments where I'm like, is this what I want to do? But there's a difference between, is this what I'm going to do? Let me go on a sabbatical but still show up to BOMs? Versus, is this what I want to do? Let me put in the work, let me put in the work, let me put in the work. Is this what I want to do? Let me put in the work. And then you get a Crystal Lisa, and I want to do this now. Right? You get a David Seeger, I want to do this now. Right? There's a difference. The majority of the time, let me rephrase that. There'll be many times where you doubt, should I be an entrepreneur? Should I run a business? Should I do this? Is it worth it? All these are questions that every single entrepreneur faces. I follow a lot of entrepreneurs online. Alex Hermosi, right? He has a video, the 90-minute video on how terrible it was for him to build a business. He wanted to quit every single day. But the difference was, you still work. You still work. Because I promise you this, people don't quit when they make a $10,000 check that week. They won't quit that week. People don't quit when they just hit marketing director. People don't quit when they just recruited somebody who went out there and hit PC their first month. People quit when they're at donuts, and they're still at donuts, and they've been at donuts, and they're going to continue to be at donuts because they're not working. That's when people quit. I'm looking for people who are workers. We want people who are... Is this speaking to anybody? Okay? If you believe you're a worker, you got nothing to worry about. If you believe you're a worker, you got nothing to worry about. Because eventually, you're going to recruit the people who stick, the people who are loyal, the people who are who I'll say it this way. If you do the work long enough, you will attract a worker, and then boom, you're Chris Solis, you're David Sika. I'll say for Andrew, you're David Gomez. Andrew Gaines hit MD, right? Andrew Gaines hit MD, and I came into the bake shop where it was Calroy, Kayleen, and Gilda. 3 people, right? I was the only Mexican there. I'm like, should I be here? Should I be here? Right? Si se puede, right? I was like, I came into the business, there's 8 people in the office. I remember one day I invited eight friends from church. They've never had 8 guests at the BOM. They were like, who is David Gomez, right? And everybody left because they thought it was a thing, right? You put in the work long enough, you're going to attract a worker because you reap what you sow. You attract who you are. It may not be happen as fast as you want. Let me ask you this, in all seriousness. If you recruited a you, would your business improve? If you recruited a you, would you be excited? If you recruited a you, would your numbers still be at donuts? If you recruited a you and you're not excited, you're going to want to take notes the second half of my training. I'll say that. So, when you work long enough, you will attract a worker, and then boom, now you have a running mate. We call that a flag carrier. How excited will Hector and Tamara be when they have a Hector and Tamara? They'd be like, woo, let me go get one more, right? How excited would Johnny and Katie be when they have a Johnny and Katie? right? How excited would I be if I found another David Seeker? Well, there is no other David Seeker, right? But I'll say David Gomez, right? But when you work hard long enough, you're gonna attract people, right? Now, here's what I'll tell you: workers are self-motivated. Okay? Workers work. Everything I just said, I don't need to tell them. I don't even need to find out. They don't necessarily need the recognition. They are working. Why? Because they are self-motivated. Now don't misunderstand this. I'm a self-motivated guy. But when I would come to BOMs, I would get even more motivated. Does that make sense? So there's a difference between going from 1 to 2 and going from 0 to 1. I would say I was like at 1 and I went to 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I was self-motivated, right? So who here wants to be seen as a worker? Anybody here wants to be seen as a worker? Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Stand up if you want to be seen as a worker. Stand up. If you want to have the reputation that you are a worker, stand up. I actually want to see if anybody's sitting down, just so I can know. Just so I can know. Okay, just so I can know. All right. I was going to pray for you, but you're okay. Okay, take a seat. So, if you want the reputation, if you want to be seen as a worker, you got to know this. Workers are self-motivated. So I want to give you 5 tips to become self-motivated. You guys ready? Okay. 5 tips to become self-motivated. Number 1, you have a clear why. This is the number 1 reason why people don't work. The number 1 reason why people what? Don't work. Because they feel like they don't have clarity. They feel like they don't have a why. They feel like they don't know why they're doing this. They feel like, should I do this? Should I not do this? The number 1 reason why people don't work is because they believe that this is a good reason not to work. Right? So let me help you with this. The one that we always hear about is know what you want, right? Okay, I want to be financially free. I want the nice car. I want the house. I want to provide for my kids. I want my kids in private school. I want to be an MD. I want respect. I want that. That is so good. It moves you. When I came to Dallas, it was I want respect. Right? They say somebody here is going to be the first VP. I want that. Right? I want it. Right? That's what I would call the carrot. You know what you're going after. But a lot of us, we're not moved by a carrot. Some of us don't properly use the power of a stick. It's what do you not want? If you don't know what you want, I could almost guarantee that you know what you don't want. Right? You don't. Let's say there was somebody in the bake shop who everybody knew was like, bro, this guy just comes to BOMs and does nothing. This girl just comes to BOMs and does nothing. They have like the reputation in the bake shop of their our professional meeting attenders. Everybody has somebody like that in the bake shop. Don't say their name, okay? Bob, we're gonna go by. And let's say your name is Jim. We don't have a Jim in here, right? And if I were to tell you that you're in the same category as Bob, you just found your why. Hell no. I'm not going to be in the same category as Bob. Right? Real fast. Maybe what you want is you don't want to be at the bottom. That might be a motivator. Right? It might be, I don't want to be broke. For me, it was, guys, it was so stupid. As a non-marketing director, I would say, I want to hit a D, I want to hit a B, I want to hit a B, I want to hit a D, right? When I got married, I said, I don't want my wife married to a non-marketing director. Then I turned it on. I'm not saying go get married. I was just saying, but maybe some of you guys will. I don't know, but God bless you. But For me, I turned it on when I said, I don't want my wife married to a non-marketing director. I don't want her to feel that she's with a non-marketing director, a non-performer, right? Boom, I turned it on. I hit MD. I wish I would have done it before, but I did it, I did it after, right? You might need to know what you don't want. I don't want to be a headache. I want to be an Advil. I don't want to be the bottom performers. I want to be amongst the top performers. I don't want to be wasting God's time. God has called me to change the world and help a bunch of people. God has called me. I don't want to waste his time. Right? Sometimes the clarity comes from what you don't want. And if the stick doesn't move you, David, that's too much pressure, it might be the carrot. Right? I want to make $1,000 so I could go pay off my credit card. Awesome, go do that. But how are people self-motivated? They know what they want or what they don't want. You with me? Yes. Okay, that's number one. Another way is a routine. How are people self-motivated? Self-motivated people is every day right? Every day I get 5 prospects. That could motivate somebody. Another one could be, or every day I make 100 calls, right? Every day I make 50 calls. Another one, I don't go home on Saturdays until, right? This was me. I come to BOM and I said, if I'm willing to work 8 hours for somebody else, I'm going to work 8 hours for myself. On Saturdays is my all-day work day. Sundays is my church day. Saturdays, work 8 hours unless I get 10 numbers, then I go home early. But I will not go home on Saturdays until I get 10 numbers, right? Or Fridays. Fridays are my prospecting day. I will prospect for 4 hours, whatever. But you find something. So people who want to be moved by this, planning is key. If you want to be, if you're motivated by like the routine of it, where when you say something you're going to do it, you got to plan it out. Does that make sense? All right. Next, it's a self-talk. Self-motivated people, they speak to themselves the right way. They speak affirmation over themselves. They fuel themselves with vision. They challenge themselves. They combat lies with truth. Everybody here has a good voice and a bad voice. Everybody in here. But self-motivated people, they've learned how to say, okay, that's the bad voice. Let me make the good voice louder. Right? The enemy says, is this really for you? You say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Right? You speak to yourself the right way. Number 4, you feed your mind with the right books. You listen to the right music. Just so you know, some of you are not MDs because of the music you listen to. David, how does that connect? Because your music reminds you of who you were, not who you're going to be. So you turn off the music, you replace it, some chains are broken. Okay. You listen to the right podcast, not just podcasts, and you listen to the right people. Last one. You don't allow negative people. What does that mean? You tell negative people not to speak negative to you, or you separate yourself from the negative people. Here's the distinction. If your spouse is negative, you can't separate yourself from your spouse because they're being negative, right? But you do need to tell your spouse, I don't want to talk negatively like that in this household. If you don't believe in me right now, that's fine. But don't speak negative to me. Give me 6 months. Give me 3 months. Give me this. Give me that. You don't need to speak positive, but don't speak negative. Create boundaries. Create that. I'm not saying go separate from your spouse. Don't do that, right? Mom, I'm not going to talk to you for 3 years anymore. Right? No, I'm not saying that. But have that conversation. Mom, please don't bring up the business anymore. If all you're going to do is speak negative, please don't bring it up. So you can tell people don't speak negatively about it. And then the people who don't really have that role in your life that you don't really want to spend the next 5, 10 years, that doesn't matter, then you separate from them. I separate from people, and with certain people I say, you just don't speak that way about my business. I'd rather you not say anything than say something negative, right? If you don't have something good to say, then don't say it at all, right? So, every family needs someone to be a worker. Let me tell you this. Every family, every last name needs someone to be a worker. Every family needs someone to be the first. To be the first to go make six figures. To be the first to $250,000, $500,000. To be the first to make $1 million. To be the first to run a successful business. Every family needs someone to break the cycle. The cycle of poverty, the cycle of small thinking, the cycle of quitting. Are you the one?
Yes.
Are you the one?
Yes.
Prove it. Prove it by becoming a worker. When nobody's looking, you're working. When they don't applaud, you're working. When people don't clap for you, you're working. When people quit on you,
You're working.
you're working. And when you succeed, you're still
Working.
working. All right, stand up. We're going to make some noise. Then we're going to get to it. Okay. All right, give your neighbor a high five and say, I'm a worker.